have to talk about this. It's Heath mentioned it at the top. Liga MX, the weekend's games and Liga MX have been postponed as a sign of solidarity with those affected by what happened in Querétaro as they were hosting Atlas yesterday. Atlas were winning 1-0, and then it was horrible, a horrific, basically a brawl all over the stadium, onto the pitch. We want to make sure we're good on these reports. We still are trying to get more information, of course, but 26 hospitalized, 3 of those in critical condition. It was a riot that was, that basically within the stadium during or before, the conclusion of this game. And Miguel Arriola from Liga MX, by the way, said inadmissible and regrettable violence in the stadium. La Corregidora de Querétaro, those responsible for the lack of security at the stadium, will be punished in an exemplary manner. I mean, listen, the only thing I'm just going to say is, because we're still finding all this information, it's an absolute tragedy. It's horrible. Liga MX, aside from suspending matches, should really just not have action at all until this full investigation is completed. I think Querétaro should not even have a game hosted or played until they can figure themselves out. I feel my heart breaks for just fans who just wanted to go and watch a game. And by the way, we're talking about a league within a nation that's about to host the World Cup in a few years, who's already had some issues in other situations, homophobic chants, etc. Violence is not something new in Liga MX, okay? I'm not a Liga MX expert, but I have covered it. And obviously I know the intricacies and what happens in Latin America. I'm just saying this. Liga MX has to get its shit together, and Querétaro as well, because this could not happen. It's an abomination of a tragedy, and I feel for those who were affected that had nothing to do with it. And the Mexican people, are the ones that suffer the most. Heath, your thoughts on it?
Yeah, supporter culture is romanticized in a lot of by Western fans, and anybody who's gone into a curva around the world or into the Barra Brava or any of these supporter groups, and you feel the energy and the excitement around it, and sort of the intense warlike tribalism that exists in that. It's such a magical experience when it's harnessed the right way. And then you see what took place, and it's horrific. And it's, fights happen all the time outside of stadiums, inside of stadiums. There's violence that takes place across all sports around the world, right? In these things. But the scenes that I saw, and again, I know we're still waiting. There's speculation that there's been a number of deaths, and I don't want to spread rumors about sort of the legal responsibilities of if somebody's taken away and like all these things that are happening. We're going to find out more about all this. But watching the sheer lack of respect for humanity, of bodies laying around the ground and people running by and continuing to mount violence and injury upon limp bodies was horrific for me to experience, and horrific for anybody. And I can't think of the fear of the young families that were in the stadium. There's photos of young families hiding behind seats and things like that, just waiting for it all to end, and people just wearing the wrong shirt now being in danger. And not to say that anybody should ever be in danger if they're looking for fights or looking for trouble. You should never have to be fearful of your life. But to just sort of see the fact that there was a number of people just at risk just for wearing the wrong color is a major issue. And whether it's suspensions, sanctions, cancellations, sales of the team, something needs to be made an example of this team. It needs to be made an example of the people involved. They need to be held accountable. And it's just not okay. And again, we can put it on like stadium security, but if you were to mob a field, there's no security in the world that could stop that. If you were to run a field from any open gate and push 50 to 100 people through or 20 people through, there's no security in the world that can stop rows and rows of fans getting into things like that. Security cannot. Security are probably even trained to mitigate major issues, which they weren't able to do in that context. So I don't want to shift the conversation away. And I do think security, I think overall the club, the league, I think the team and those fans specifically need to be held accountable. There needs to be justice to all of this because it's wrong. And I'm not an expert on it either. I'm not an expert on the laws there, but I know that there should be no place in the world where fans go to be entertained buy a soccer match at any level and should be fearful of their lives.
Yeah, well said, my friend. And Liga MX, and we need transparency and, responsibility for everything that's going on. And again, our thoughts go to anybody that was affected